Over the past 3 years, I've closed more than 10 million in online sales only in the DMs. No Zoom calls, no 45-minute Zoom marathons. And today I'll show you exactly how my conversational flow goes from A to Z, from beginning the conversation up until closing the sale. I'll show exactly what I'm saying and the objections I'm handling, every single question I'm asking to get the sale. Let's dig in. So this is a typical open. The customer says, "Hey Christopher, appreciate the follow. Are you here for the videos or are you looking to grow the biz?" The client says, "Looking to grow." I acknowledge. So I say, "Sounds good. Looking into your company, how long have you been building? And what revenue or stage are you in?" Now I'm making the decision of asking multiple questions here because essentially I'm communicating to the prospect, choose your path forward. Because the offer that we sell has a pretty open-ended avatar, I'm giving him multiple questions here, which is not a best practice because I want them to cherry pick what information they're going to give me. So he's telling me I'm about 1.5 million to 1.8, and it's been consistent at that for years. So I'm getting some good info. I got revenue, and I'm going to ask now a question I want you to pay attention because it's driving specifically at a pain point. So I'm going to acknowledge, I'm saying makes sense. So getting some traction, steady and 1.8 million. How does the team look like right now? Now, this might seem like a logistical question. However, when it comes to the offer that we sell, when it comes to helping people free up their time and scale their business, if they don't have a team, that's a direct pain point I can uncover. And what do you know? He says, "I am the team." So in this case, I'm like, are you still running everything? How many team members do you have under you? So I'm doing probing, I'm clarifying his situation. So he's saying, I have a manager, but I run most of it. So he starts unpacking his situation, but we need to go deeper. So I'm acknowledging by saying, that's not good. What's been hard about taking off more of the hats? So this is a probing question. I need to keep peeling away layers of the sales onion to get to the core problem. So he says that he has trust issues and money. So I want to focus on the most important thing, and the trust is something that can turn into an objection. So I want to push that aside and I'll deal with that later. I want to make sure that he's a qualified prospect, so I'm going to focus on the money. So I'm telling him, so money-wise, are you not profitable at 1.8 million? And he's just saying, I just feel that if I do things myself, it'll be done correctly and I can keep the money, which is a limiting belief. Like we've found a red flag here. So I need to challenge that thinking, but I need to do it in a way that doesn't increase sales resistance. So I'm going to do it with a well-positioned question. I'm going to ask him, well, how are you going to grow if you always do things yourself? So if you want to double the business, can you double your working hours? He says, very true, I can't. So can you see how he accepts that he has a problematic situation? We continue, but finding the right people and trusting them to do it like I do. And I will say 80% done by someone else is 100% perfect for you, because I want to install an empowering belief, a belief that empowers him to grow the business, but also something that will get him to buy my solution. I'm continuing. And I'm going to ask another probing question, one that brings up so much pain that will help him to elaborate way more and will create urgency for him to move forward. So I will ask, what do you feel you've missed out on so far because you haven't been delegating? And he tells himself, business opportunities, growth networking, and others. So I'm communicating to him what needs to change. So it's a very big thing that I'm doing here. I'm trying to install a new identity. He has an old identity that's problematic. It's keeping him where he is right now, stuck, saving money instead of investing money to grow his team. So I need to get him to start thinking as the new identity. And that's what I'm doing here. need to upgrade your identity to go from operator to CEO. Otherwise, you'll always be creating invisible ceilings. Are you okay with me saying that? Of course. So I'm softening the blow by saying, are you okay with me saying that? And he accepts it. Can you see how we're able to install and plant beliefs without eroding trust? Let's press on. So I'm asking, what's the big goals next 12 months? And he says, I'm gonna grow the business, I want to be able to retire, etc., etc. And I am echoing back his biggest desire, which is I want to step up for my girls. But he hasn't given me a revenue number yet, and I need that to create a clear gap between where he is and where he needs to be. So I will ask him, what's the ideal revenue that you want to achieve? And he says 4 million, covering all expenses. Good. Let's do 4 million for sure. I echo back the revenue that he wants to make, 4 million. And then I will ask, what are 2 to 3 things you need to get there? Because what I need in this stage of the sales process are the obstacles, what's holding him back from getting there, other than the mindset that we've already had a conversation around. He says sales contacts and learning to sell. So we're gonna ask a situation-based question. When someone gives you a problem, instead of accepting it, oh, yeah, I get that sales is a challenge, and moving on, go deeper. Like find what's their current process to fix their situation. So I'm asking him, how have you been finding contacts? He says word of mouth, which is a very manual way of doing it. So I'm gonna say, just word of mouth. How come you haven't tested anything yet? And he says again, fear to spend the money because I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm communicating to him what he needs. So I'm doing a couple of things in this stage. I'm telling him, number one, it's leadership and having a clear game plan because I want him to step up as a leader. But also when it comes to his sales challenge, I'm saying you need a content engine. It's a reach and reputation game right now. I'm at 2 million a month revenue, just content I can show you. Now, why are we saying that? Number one, we're creating a curiosity gap. He has a problem, he doesn't have enough leads. I am creating a curiosity gap by mentioning an aspect of my solution. Oh, you need a growth engine. But I'm also building up my credibility by saying that I am producing 2 million a month in revenue. So now he has 2 different hooks in his mind. Now I will continue and I will ask, what team members do you need on board to start delegating? I'm gonna keep probing for more pain points. And he says, I need an admin. And I will open another curiosity gap and I will validate his need because it's something that we help with. So when someone gives you a problem that you can solve, you can validate that problem and say, yes, you need an executive assistant, for example, and it will do these amazing things for you. Like it will do this, it will save you more time, it will protect your calendar. So show him that you have expertise around fixing the challenge that he's dealing with. Let's continue. I mentioned that he needs a talent funnel to help find the right people. And now I'm gonna ask a solution awareness question. A solution awareness question is something to get an idea around what he has done to fix his problem before. Like, has he reached out to help? So I'm gonna ask him, have you ever worked with a coach to help you grow? He says, I have tried, but he wasn't the right coach for me, but I'm willing to look at it for sure. Before I go any further, I need to make sure what went wrong in the past, because if he has had a specific problem and in my offer I have that exact thing, he's not gonna move forward. He already has built up trauma from the previous experience. So he says, I really didn't hold him accountable and he didn't hold me accountable. So he didn't give me specific tasks or ideas to help me grow. And I know that in my offer, I have accountability, so I'm safe to push forward. And I will say, do you resonate with my content and what I have to say? He says, I do. I've been binging my content. The reason I asked that question is I want to get a sense of his familiarity with my brand. Like, how familiar is he? Is he very cold and I need to send him resources and I need to warm him up? Or does he like my stuff and I can make an offer? So he says, yes, I've listened to the book, so I want to make an offer here. But before I do that, I want to push him away and challenge him a bit to get him to step up. So I'm asking this question. Are you willing to be coachable and held accountable to reach next level outcomes? And he says, I'm sick of being at a standstill and not doing what I know I'm capable of. Now I have him exactly where I want him. Let's continue. I make the offer, I send him the details, and what do you know? What did he mention earlier in the conversation? That he has trust issues. So these trust issues, despite the work that we did to overcome them, he still brings them up. And he says, I've been burned by coaching before, so I'm a little skeptical of laying out 9K. I'm looking for a complete change, but what is my guarantee that this will work for me? The worst thing you can do is give someone a guarantee, because you're giving them a way out. Like, you're letting that person down by telling him, hey, yeah, no worries. No matter if you do everything crap and you fail at implementing a solution, you're gonna get your money back. That's an easy way to let your customers fail. So instead, how do you reply when someone says, I need a guarantee? Here's what you'll say exactly. When it comes to the guarantee, I haven't needed a guarantee, because at the end of the day, nothing is guaranteed but death and taxes. And when we die, we'll get taxed again. So my goal is to put my clients in the best possible position to grow. Trust issues are not uncommon, so I'm nullifying his concern. I'm saying it's normal. You're not special for having them. That's fine. As long as they don't turn into self-sabotage. Do you feel I can get you to where you want to go? That is a commitment question. So I need to make sure that besides the objection that he gave me, do you feel this is the path forward? I need his certainty around the product specifically. And he says, I do, but I have some reservations. Am I going to be okay if I miss the first 30 minutes of the call? This is a logistical question. It's a buyer question. It's fine. We're going to answer it. And we're going to say, I stay 60 to 90 minutes, so there's plenty of time to unpack, and you can drop questions, so there's plenty of support. He asks another question. He says, my business is in security, and all the past coaches all told me that it's not their wheelhouse. What makes you feel the partnership with you and I will be different? This is an objection. If I don't handle it the right way, and I try to say that, oh, I'm better than the other coaches, this is the quick path to hearing a no. Here's what I do instead. I don't know the other coaches, so I can't comment on methods. What I know is that you're the bottleneck of the business, and you're barely scratching the surface around what's possible for you if you start going from operator to CEO. Remember what I said earlier about the identity shift? I'm bringing it up here. This is what we call a psychological anchor. We planted the seed earlier on in the conversation. We bring it back towards the end. And as you can see, it gets him to buy. He says, okay, I get it, and I'm with you. I'm asking for the sale simply. Want to get to work building together? Yes, I am. Join us, and I'll set you up. I sent him the links. He does some negotiating around, would you be willing to do the 2 months for 3K? And I know, because he's super skeptical, I'm going to allow that, and I'm going to upsell him in the future. So I'm saying, let's do it, and I'll let you pay the difference to upgrade. And he says, I'm going to sign up for this now. Here's hoping. And I see the sale come in, and he says, awesome, I'm ready, and he bought. So as you've seen, it's 100% possible to close a high-ticket sale in the DMs. All you need is a proven sales structure and the awareness of where the buyer is. Is he giving you red flags? We need to find these red flags early in the conversation and handle them along the way. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to drop a like, comment your biggest takeaway, and I'll see you on the next one.